Hey there, everyone, and to all of you joining us for the first time, welcome. This is Remarkist, a community of folks who like to watch their favorite television shows together virtually, but as if we're in the same room, gathered around the same television. And tonight we're watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Are we ready?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, John.
Lynn, have you seen this?
Yeah, it's my first time watching the show.
Okay.
The sound effect.
So this has got to be a dream.
I was just gonna say that this feels like a dream.
So 90s.
So ridiculous.
I like that line. Don't be sorry, be smart. This guy seems like a vampire waiting to happen.
Because he likes her.
He just seems very intelligent.
Yeah, I'm scared for him, to be honest.
I'm not scared for him. I'm scared of him. He seems evil.
I don't know. I'm scared he's a nice guy, so that means he's gonna die.
That's what I was just thinking too. That's where I'm leaning. What?
I truly didn't remember that happened.
I was wondering, Diana, because I know you.
No,
some of the stuff you don't remember fully.
I haven't watched it since it was on in 1997, so I really don't remember a lot of detail.
Finally, the opening credits, the way I remember, with the scream in there. Had to wait till the witch episode.
I was gonna say
that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that scream was awesome.
To me, that's how I always remember it. So the first 3 episodes, I kept expecting it, and it didn't come. And then I remembered it's because it's from the witch episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
they don't want to spoil it.
Yes.
Right. It's like part of the song in my head.
Me too.
Exactly.
Fun fact: the guitar Xander's playing in his dream it's from BC Rich Guitars, and the model is the Warlock, and that's why they picked it for this episode.
Ooh. Xander's not looking as cool here as he was in his dream.
Yeah, you think after you have a dream like that, you try a little bit harder.
I
No
mean,
jellyfish
obviously,
shirt.
yeah, obviously he can imagine himself to be that cool.
What's that guy from?
I don't know, but he looks like a very young Luke Perry.
Yeah, I mean, at first that's what I was thinking, but then I looked at him again. I'm like, no, that guy's from something. He's just he's just gotten older, and this is just him when he was really young, and I'm not really putting my finger on it.
I think he's from Buffy.
Pretty sure he's from Buffy. Yeah. You got it. I don't know. I didn't think that shot of him looked that flattering.
I think Xander is kind of intimidated by anybody that Buffy pays attention.
That's because he's a vampire. So, you know, he doesn't need to have. Oh,
John, did you just realize something?
yeah, this stuff, like, I could really do without it.
When you say this stuff, what do you mean?
Just all this sort of forced romance of these two characters.
Got it.
And I especially the taking off the jacket nonsense was just a little too goofy and didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and I don't know, didn't work for me.
You think it's a forced romance, John?
Yes, I do.
Also, the jacket doesn't look that good on her.
No, and then she even like kind of hugs it at the end a little, she does a little squeeze of it, which sort of suggests that like she kind of likes that he gave her a jacket. I don't know, something about it just seems a little goofy. I get it, it's like from a different time of storytelling. I that would never fly today.
Something tells me it would still fly with Teenage Girl. This actress Musetta Vander, she was actually a very, very big fan of the movie and like begged to be on the show. And that's how she.
I was gonna say that too, Hunter. You're so
Sorry.
funny. No, that's okay. Hunter's got a lot of facts, and I told her to share whatever she wants to share.
That's kind of iconic, actually. I love that. And she was a huge fan of the movie.
But I thought the whole point of this TV series was to like run as far away as possible from the movie. So I think that's kind of funny.
Blaine. That is such a like preppy 80s name. So, John, was it Blaine that you were wondering what else he was in?
Yes.
He has not done a whole lot, actually. I just looked him up. He was in something called The Rundown, Too Much Sex, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Baywatch Nights. Maybe you saw him on Baywatch Nights back in '95.
Oh, I was a huge Baywatch Nights fan.
And Nowhere Man. That's all he has on his IMDb credits. He does look like a lot of people, actually, like Luke Perry and some other actors.
So I will say about this episode that we've already seen like the arm of a praying mantis type creature, and we know that this person has just come out of nowhere to replace the person who was killed. And we're talking about an insect that we know is a female predator of the male counterpart. So I already know who this character is. They have to really, really do some work to subvert my expectations here. I also think Blaine is probably dead in this episode because the character, I believe, did come out of nowhere, or like meaning he just arrived for this episode. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I don't remember him from other episodes.
Yeah, so he's dead. He's straight up dead. Yeah, because fun fact, praying mantises rip the head off of the male.
After they mate.
Correct.
You guys crack me out.
It's episode 4, and I already know not to believe her when she says.
She only did the first half of it. She only said cross my heart. She didn't hope herself to die.
I think she had her fingers crossed behind her back.
She did not suggest that she would stick a needle anywhere near her eye. So
Obviously it's not binding.
no.
It also just means no bad things will happen to her if she does break a promise. She didn't say what they.
I mean, the expression literally means if I cross my heart, meaning like if I go against this, then these things will happen. So she just said, if I go against this, and then she didn't explain what would happen. So she's good.
John is very serious about that.
I was gonna say he's learning all the tricks before Josie gets to be a teenager.
Yep. I might have used that tactic once or twice.
Fork guy. Whoa.
Oh, he's gonna hide underground from her.
I mean, the little weird weapon that he had, the like hand blades, very Mad Max.
Yeah, he's the one who cut his hand off, probably, that they were talking about.
Very
Replace it
Thunder.
with some.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, we don't need another hero.
Oh, it's. I never seen it.
Oh, we got to get Thunderdome in the calendar.
Can we have a moment of appreciation for those headbands that were literally the bane of everyone's existence?
Never get your hair out of them.
Never.
Never, but I loved them. I don't know why. I like that he believes her and like doesn't question.
That was a little too much information.
Yeah, the 90s was a lot of scatological humor, a lot of poop jokes.
Cordelia. She helping him cheat.
She's being a good teacher.
She's the most inappropriate teacher.
Seriously.
By the way, what's her nationality? Her accent, like sometimes I think that she's Australian. Sometimes I think that it sounds.
Ew.
She is Dutch South African.
Oh, okay, Dutch South African makes sense. Why ew? Have you never eaten a grasshopper?
Not a live one.
Oh,
The
I'll,
actor said that she didn't have to really eat them though.
I'll
But she
eat a
still-
live grasshopper any day of the week.
I've never eaten live bugs, but I've eaten all kinds of bugs.
Hard pass on all the above. Hard pass.
Not even a chocolate covered one, MJ.
No.
Nope.
One thing that's gross. Secondly, I'm allergic to chocolate.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'm actually mildly allergic to chocolate as well. Dark chocolate makes me sneeze for a very long time.
My kid too. I think it's hilarious. It's like the kids that Charlie's, or not Charlie, Willy Wonka's dad was describing.
Yeah.
The actress, she's actually vegan, so when she had to fold the bread over the crickets, she was being like really, really gentle so she didn't injure them. And they had to do the take 1,000 times because she was like, hold.
Well, and Hunter, they told her that they were going to become fishing bait anyway. That she still didn't want to hurt them.
John was like, you're not getting me fired doing this stuff.
I mean, it's not just insects that give it off. I mean, it's just so weird to me that like it's by today's standards, it seems so incredibly inappropriate. But this was like network television.
It was inappropriate back then too.
Yeah, it was incredibly inappropriate. I feel like I'm going to see an article on the local teachers who are pedophiles site.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it afterwards.
It's just funny that like this would just I don't think this would have had any problem being like a network wouldn't have really thought anything was that weird about it. They would have just greenlit it, you know, approved it and go like not a chance now.
Like, are you thinking that it's, you know, they were looking at it as, oh, a guy's attracted to an older woman?
Yeah.
And like an inappropriate,
Yep.
like minor?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, when was Dawson's Creek out?
Oh,
Right.
yeah, Dawson's Creek had some inappropriate storylines.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
don't know Dawson's Creek, but yeah, I mean, I think that it was like that was the 90s, you know, like that kind you saw these types of things all the time.
I was gonna say it's kind of Mary Kay Letourneau.
Oh, yes.
Totally.
For sure.
There's actually a show on Hulu right now called The Teacher, where this is the entire premise of the show. The female teacher seduces the male.
But it's probably written to sort of be a comment on the inappropriate nature of it, right?
Right.
Like, I don't think that that's what was going on here. This is more about like, she's a praying mantis and she's about to kill him. That's sort of the extent of it.
The network probably saw it that way, but they actually did write this to make that point, that's what they will talk about.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Looking forward to hearing.
This is what I've been waiting for. Dang it.
Oh, Blaine, I'm sure.
I think Blaine's gone. Oh, Eve's still there.
Knew it.
I forgot.
I have a feeling we're going to see Blaine get
Well, he knows what's going to happen because he obviously saw it happen to somebody else.
Is he talking to like some like experienced watcher?
Presumably.
He said it's someone who was well versed in entomology and mythology, and he woke him up from his sleep in the asylum.
God.
That would not fly now. No one wants their kids to go to teacher's house.
Blaine is not a stand-up guy.
But also, why did he get into his cage? He should have stayed in his own.
That actress is actually Ron Howard's mother.
Is that from Babylon 5?
Yes.
Yes. Who said it? I missed.
I think it was
MJ.
MJ.
Yeah, that was me.
Good job.
Thank you.
Are you saying that the costume is a Babylon 5 creature or something?
Yep.
Okay.
Reuse of the, I think it's, they said what the Engrath or Engarth Wrath. I don't know how they pronounce it. Prop from Babylon 5 television series from 1994.
I did not watch that show.
Wasn't sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that. I didn't watch the show.
Oh my gosh, she is awesome. I think she just looks awesome.
He's kind of a crappy vampire.
Yeah, that is a real low grade vampire.
Look at all those stakes, though.
With his little sport.
A whole row.
Oh, look, a wooden fence.
Bug spray.
Little bug spray. Get that raid up.
Is that bug spray?
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, this scene is so dark. It's really difficult for me to see what's going on.
Probably to cover the prop not being good. And you know, the lighters on they didn't have much light.
Rewatch it on Prime.
It's probably much brighter. Yeah, when they remastered.
It's probably daytime on Prime.
I think I'd prefer it.
I forgot about the shadow puppet show. So corny.
And there he is.
You might have to get used to him for a little while, John.
And he's got another jacket. So now there's two of them.
He's back in the
Two.
weird satin jacket.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, it would be great if like then he takes that jacket off and gives it to her. Now she has two of them. Then the next time that he comes into the scene, he's got another jacket on. He takes that one off, gives it to her. By the end of season 1, every time they're in a scene together, she's just got more and more jackets on her.
She's walking around like Stay Puft, just like bumping into things with all the jack.
I don't remember my science teacher wearing the white lab coat all the time. Was that a thing for other people's science?
Oh, our chemistry teacher did, but only because he was hoity-toity and high and mighty.
Yeah, our chemistry teacher did, but that was the only science teacher that did that. And he was just
Same.
odd.
Yeah, my Miss Torres did, but she was great. I loved her. We were always doing stuff in there anyway. So, but yeah, it was always the chemistry.
Ooh, creepy.
The praying mantis. So, Kendra, did it live up to the description for you?
It did. I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like if they did an episode like this today. It would be amazing.
Much fancier. Maybe an original prop instead of a repurposed one. MJ, I'm impressed you deciphered that in the darkness of that basement.
Did everybody catch those eggs in the
Yeah, of
closet?
course, of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
A bunch of
cracking
little
open.
like praying mantis, like women. That would be awesome. Just take over the whole town.
Kendra, you absolutely have to read this comic book series that came out in like the mid to late aughts called Girls. It's by this comic duo called this comic duo that go by the name the Luna Brothers. I mean, I guess that's their last name. I think you would really like it a lot.
It sounds vaguely familiar to me. Like maybe we sold it at the bookstore.
Oh, I'm sure of it. It was a very, very, very popular series back in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah. I bet we sold it, and
Yeah.
I was in charge of comics and
Yeah, it had a really interesting art style. Like their comic book drawing style is really cool, but it has a lot of similarities to some of the stuff that it seems that you really were into in this episode.
It has she mantises in it?
Not exactly, but kind.
Spoil.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you really liked this episode, you'd probably dig that series. It's good. There's nothing insecty in it, but it's got some similar stuff going on. It's very weird, but it was very, very popular when it was out. So if you were selling comic books back then, Kendra, then you would 100% have sold it, and you would also recognize it if I sent you a picture of it, because the artwork is so distinctive. Like it was very different from anything else that was being drawn at that time.
The name of the Luna Brothers is what clicks.
Yeah, Luna Brothers, and the name is called Girls.
I'm gonna have to look it up. Oh, and I'm not afraid of insects. I quite love them. I find them fascinating. I hate spiders, but I love insects.
So in this episode, I was thinking about some things that people were talking about last week with the cereal versus the monsters of the week and stuff like that. And this episode, we got a little bit of both because they referenced the master, who would be probably considered the cereal. It's been in multiple episodes. And then we had our monster of the week. So which well, obviously we didn't get a lot of the master, but which do you still prefer, the monster of the week, or you look forward to finding out what's going to happen with the master?
Does anybody have any guess how I felt about this episode?
You weren't that thrilled with.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not that thrilled with it.
Yeah, I was not into this
Too
episode.
predictable.
This was my least favorite episode.
Yeah.
Way too predictable. It didn't really have me on the edge of my seat because of that. I wasn't asking many questions throughout. Yeah, there were just like a lot of goofy tropes that I feel like they would never fly today, and it was hard for me to even like see the series through like a historical lens, like, oh well, just appreciate it, this is the way that like stories were written back then, but it was just there was just like a lot too many goofy things. But my biggest problem was it was just so incredibly obvious from the get-go. Like you just saw every single thing coming, like one thing after the other. The most surprised that I was when that guy, when the professor at the very beginning, who was like really like very nice and stuff, everyone was like, oh, he's so nice, like he's going to die. And like I was like, oh no, he's so nice, he's going to be evil. But of course, now in hindsight, that's because that's the way we would write it today. But of course, back in the day, like back in the 90s, very, very nice person. Like they weren't going to subvert your expectations. Like, bad guys were very clearly, I mean, like, she walks into the scene and she's got that like evil grin, slow motion reveal of, slow motion introduction of the character. And so the biggest surprise for me was when he gets killed at the beginning. The moment that happens, like everything else just sort of falls into place. And then most of the episode for me was just enjoyable. I just was having more fun, like kind of snarking at things.
I don't think they tried to hide what was going to happen in this episode from the get-go. I mean,
it just made for a pretty undramatic, it just didn't have me, it didn't draw me in because I just already knew what I was going to be seeing.
I don't disagree with that, because this is not one of my favorite episodes of season 1. Is not my favorite season of the series, but this is not one of my favorite episodes of season 1. There's things I like about it, but there's other things that I just, you find out a little bit about each of the characters here and there. Obviously, we already kind of knew that Willow was in Xander, but now we really know she's in Xander. We know Xander's middle name, and that he, he's still virgin. Just weird stuff like that, weird things. Buffy has a teacher that likes her, and now he's gone.
I think I'm liking these episodes because I love camp. So. Right. You might lose me later if I keep watching. If it gets too,
you'll always get the camp.
The camp never goes away.
I might stick with this even when we're done with it, and I might watch it through the end.
The camp gets even campier sometimes, so you'll love it.
Yeah, I mean the production gets better, the makeup and stuff gets better, but they always keep a little bit of that campiness. And then there's some episode. We know you're gonna love some.
But also, is like there were some things that seemed so incredibly over the top, and I just wasn't sure. Like I was having a hard time. Like like back in the day, did audiences find that stuff as laughable as it seems now? Like things things like, how are we gonna find her? Oh, I know. I'm going to go get that vampire, like beat up that vampire and then bully him into like walking around the neighborhood until he gets scared in front of a house or like, I mean, just the whole, it's like it reminds me a lot, not to do too much spoiling, but I know Hunter knows what I'm talking about, but it reminds me a lot of a plot point in which a very big, very well-known show at the height of its success, like sent a bunch of characters and to go capture a zombie. And it was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like it was, and it,
Yeah.
and it was like, and it sort of felt like that here, but I'm thinking, back in the 90s, like, could you write a plot point in which your lead characters go to capture a vampire to use as a sort of like sniffing device for finding your villain? Or like, would people have been like, oh, that totally makes sense back in the 90s? Now they would laugh at it, right? But or was it back in the 90s where they all like, you know what, that's what we love about this goofy show?
No, this was kind of received the way you just described it. Like, we were like, okay, it was good, we watched it, but it's still not one of the favorites, and it wasn't then either. I feel like so we talked about the teacher, like, how that would never fly right now and everything. And one of the things Joss and the writing team for this season did was, when they sat down talking about the season, they all just kind of brainstormed about, all of the teenage tropes from high school, things they were scared of in high school, and things that probably wouldn't really be talked about in high school, even though is there. And one of the things that he wanted to touch on was, the teacher as a predator. And of course, we would commonly see that as a male teacher being a predator to a female student, and how faux that is. Yeah, this is a reversal. Exactly. It's a reversal on that. And he wanted to actually go a little bit darker with the episode, but the network made him pull some of the scenes, apparently, that made her a little bit more creepy. So the plot of her being the praying mantis and the predator wasn't really supposed to be the main focus of this, but this is kind of what we got because he had to remove some of the more creepy scenes with her. So I feel like if we had gotten more of what he wanted for this episode, it probably would have been a little more, uncomfortable instead of what we had.
Yeah.
But
There's also
get that reversal of the predator with the female teacher and the male student, but also the other trope here is that the version is usually safe in a horror movie. Like, you don't have to worry about that. But here, they were the victims. So it was two things.
But also, the trope of, the trope of the young high school boy having a crush on the hot teacher, that is a very common trope that ran through the 80s and 90s. Hot for Teacher, the song itself is like kind of a nod to that trope. So it's definitely something that has been used before. I agree with you that its use here as like, well, and the teacher ends up being a predator is definitely the new part of this. But it was sort of what I was getting at, why I think that the network probably, whether they would have approved it or not, like as some sort of interesting social commentary, I don't think that they probably didn't even totally recognize what the writers were doing there. I think that they just accepted it as, oh yeah, like high school boys being hot for teacher, maybe potentially hooking up with their teacher. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Well, that's what it turned out to be. But again, like, they made him remove some of the plot lines that didn't make it creepier, that didn't make it a little bit more serious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they saw what he was doing. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Diana,
do you know what some of those were?
He wanted to have a scene where, like, the scene in the classroom was extended to where Xander was kind of getting a little bit more uncomfortable with the way she was hitting on him. And then they also wanted to have a scene where they realized, instead of her like being, oh no, this isn't the same Mrs. French, where they had a trail of her seducing and teenage boys becoming missing, to show that, like, she really was like a predator, quote unquote, and like lawsuits and stuff like that. But they took that stuff.
They wanted it to be more horrific, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they want it to be more obvious, like this is bad. It's not just like a teenage boy having a cousin teacher. Oh, it's kooky. Like they wanted to show that that's not it can be just as uncomfortable as a male teacher preying on a female student.
And then we get the gross factor on top of it.
Yeah. So, but then the production, they were not going for it, so they made him take most of that.
Well, it was always disturbing to me back then, the teacher hitting on the student thing, even though she was a monster, and I knew that's why she was doing it. Still.
I mean, the Mary
John.
Kay Letourneau stuff was happening at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like in the news. So there's no question that they would have recognized what the writers were doing.
They did that too. Like they took a story from the news, the last episode, because there was a Texas mom who was cheerleading mom, and she like either killed somebody or she tried to kill someone on the team so her daughter could get on.
Oh, I remember that story.
That was huge, that story.
I think they made a Lifetime movie out of that, actually.
They certainly did.
Leave it to Lifetime.
They did. And our cheerleading squad competed against theirs all the freaking time.
What?
Oh, she could have killed us. And we were like, no, we're safe. Because she wasn't trying to kill us to take out the competition. She's trying to kill one of her daughter's teammates so she could get her spot on the squad.
Disturbing. Real life disturbing.
That's insane. Holy crap.
So we know,
Of course, I'm now on Wikipedia looking to see like, what's the current status of Mary Kay Letourneau.
Oh, they got divorced.
Vill, yeah, no, they separated. They didn't divorce. They
didn't
separated.
divorce.
They didn't divorce.
I think she passed away.
She
actually.
died, yeah.
She died.
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. She did. Oh yeah, she died. She died in 2000. She died in 2020.
You know, the
Oh,
weird
wow.
thing is I watched an interview not that long ago with her and him on it. And you can just tell, like, even with him being an adult, you can tell how much control, like literal control, she has over him. And it was so sad to see.
Oh wow. Yeah, but man, what did she die? Wow. They separated a year before she died.
How
Or
did she
not
pass
even a year.
away?
Cancer. She died of cancer.
Wow, they're poor kids. How many kids?
6.
That
Oh my
From-
gosh.
colorectal cancer on July 6, 2020. So that wasn't even a full year after they separated.
Well, can I ask Regina what she thought, out of curiosity, being a new viewer as well? Not to, unless you guys want to talk about me.
No, sorry. I just like went off on that tangent. Like, you know, you mentioned something and suddenly my brain wants to go to Wiki.
I totally get it. I hadn't thought about Mary Kay Letourneau in a long time. I don't know if Regina's listening though. She might be dog sitting still. See if she pipes up here. Or Diana. I can't remember some of this stuff.
I've never heard of Mary Kay Letourneau, so I had to look her up. I've never heard of this person or this case or this
Oh
controversy.
no, Regina, I was wondering what you thought about the episode, not Mary Kay Letourneau.
No, I know, but I was just trying to segue.
Regina, we want you to research Mary Kay Letourneau. Please return tomorrow with a full report on everything that happened. Just kidding.
10
She's
pages.
a disturbing. She's a disturbing
Don't put it
case.
past me. I think it's a general consensus. Like I'm with the general consensus. It's probably one of my least favorite episodes that I've seen so far. Not only because of the antiquated boy hot for teacher trope and the inappropriateness between the teacher and the student. But also I don't like bugs. So the second she said that they were gonna make like model eggs or whatever, I was like, that's a red flag right there. That is a red flag right there. No. So, yeah. I did not like this episode.
Also, the Angel and the Buffy stuff. I'm sorry, but it's not working. It's not working for me at all. It's not working for me at all. And I'm just really hoping that gets way more dynamic than it currently is, because right now it is just they just meet and have a little scene and then he walks away.
Hunter, am I wrong in thinking he was originally not supposed to be a long-term character? I feel like he wasn't originally supposed to be a long-term character and he became one, but I could be wrong.
No, his plot line was kind of mapped out for him. I don't know what to say without saying it.
Yeah, no, for some reason I was thinking maybe I'm confusing a different show.
I think you're thinking of the other vampire.
Okay, that could be it.
I think we can safely say without any spoilers that it does become dynamic because he gets his own spin-off.
Yeah, I think that's probably that does give me some sense of that it's not going to just be this, but so far it's just been that, even in the first episodes, it's just they meet and they chat and then they leave and then they part ways, and it's just there's something about it just feels very, very much like a forced romance. And it's not like this period of television didn't know how to build chemistry between two characters. I mean, this was around the time when we had, like, I think one of the best television romances with Mulder and Scully on X-Files. So I hold it to that standard of what those characters can be. And as of right now, there's just absolutely no reason for me to care one way or the other whether these two characters have anything like that will lead to any romance.
Maybe it's supposed to be weird and awkward right now. She is a teenage girl.
Okay, so
I don't know if I'd say awkward. I just mean it's just like I just really don't care if they get together at all. Like
I agree with you. Like,
I want her to just do what she does best, which is I want her to slay some vampires.
You want cartwheels and backflips.
I mean, I just want her to just I want to go on her journey, and right now her journey is understanding why she's there, and in the Hellmouth and saving the world. These are big stakes, and for me right now, he seems to just be in the way of that. If the two characters met on terms in which they both had they were both working towards the same goal, and it just so happened that they started to develop feelings for each other, it would work a little bit better for me. But right now it just feels like they're just like the writing is forcing them to have this chemistry, and I'm just not feeling it.
Hey Lynn, did you want to say something? I saw you you flash your mic a couple of times.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know. I noticed that when Angel gave her his jacket, he had like slashes on his arm. And for somebody who knows nothing about the show and the future, I wonder if it had to do with that vampire who has that like knife hand.
It's a good observation.
Yeah, that seems to track.
I think that he was referring to because he said he wasn't watching out. But I also know in the future that vampires heal very quickly. So it was kind of weird that unless he just got slashed like 2 seconds before he saw her. But is he a vampire? Do we know that?
No, we don't actually know for sure at this point in the show. But yeah, so Lynn, there's a lot of people. I don't know how familiar you are with Joss Whedon's work, but there is some unavoidable spoilers out there if you know what some of his shows are, and one of them does relate to that character. So that's why people keep kind of referring to him that way. But at this point in the show, we don't really know much about Angel, who he is, where he came from, what he is, or anything like that yet. So it is understandable to be confused when you hear us talking about him sometimes.
I'll say this.
So, yeah.
I'll say this. If you're watching this on Hulu, do not look 3 episode thumbnails away, because you will be really spoiled.
Yeah, yeah.
You will be really spoiled in like a way that I have to say is part of what I'm saying here, which is like, really?
Well, I've already like scrolled through the whole thing,
Yeah,
and looked at
Kendra.
all the pictures and read all the descriptions.
Why would you do that?
So she stays put. She wants to know what's coming, so
Yes.
she knows if she should come back. That's okay, Kendra. But yeah, Lynn, it's Angel's still a mystery to the characters in Buffy. And he likes to give her these cryptic warnings, as we've seen. So it's very possible that those flashes came from the claw hand vampire. Like he may have had an encounter with him, and then he came to warn Buffy about him.
But the claw hand vampire was really like treated like a clown in this episode. You know? I mean, like,
For somebody who was supposed to be scary.
there was
sacrificed his
nothing
hand.
there was nothing about this vampire that even remotely felt menacing. He really felt like a total clown.
Yeah, I didn't feel like he was a threat to any of them.
He was kind of strong though, because she did have to he gave her a pretty good fight before initially before he ran off being scared by that thing. But because some of the vampires don't put up any fight at all, and other ones she has to work a little harder to kill, and she wasn't able to kill him immediately. So that shows he's supposed to be a little bit strong in some way. But yeah, I don't find him as scary as the description made him out to be.
Maybe I'm being too critical about the whole Angel Buffy thing, because it was a show that was written and marketed for a teen audience, and maybe that is enough for a teen audience. They want they're too attractive love interest characters to meet, to have chemistry from the get-go, and to be smooching within a few episodes.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say something along those lines. Like watching this as an adult and remembering some of the conversations I had with my friends at the time when we were 16, like about Buffy Angel. Like I never understood, like from day one, I was like, I have absolutely zero interest in that guy. Like I couldn't have less interest in that guy. And then my friends were like, oh my God, he's so hot. Like, oh, more Angel. We want more Angel. We don't even care what he does. And like, that was sort of like how it was, And I think this episode points out something kind of interesting about the series that I never really thought too hard about, but it seemed like, this episode is about like, I mean, they're hitting us over the head with the metaphor, right? Like the teacher is the predator, the praying mantis, right? And that, we're supposed to get kind of, we're supposed to get grossed out by Xander's crush. We're supposed to get grossed out by the teacher's, seemingly hitting on a student or students. We're also supposed to like, I don't know, like Xander in the beginning of the episode, like with the dream and all of that, like he's visibly jealous of this, this very good looking, suave dude that keeps showing up and like giving people his jackets and stuff, like, and this show is really written for the female gaze. Like it really is. Like we're kind of like, ugh, Xander, shut up. She just like let her talk to the hot guy, you know? We have absolutely no idea where Angel is. We don't know how old he is. We don't like, I mean, it's equally gross that this kind of older dude is like talking to Buffy all the time. Like, isn't that as gross as a teacher kind of preying on a student? Like,
Yeah.
to me, it is. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, why are we okay with that? Why are we okay with this like random guy who's definitely not in high school hanging around the kids, giving people his jacket and like not like, but we're like totally against the teacher preying on the student. Like, you know, it just seems a little uneven to me. And like looking back on it, I'm like, oh man, like this was marketed directly to teenage girls
Yeah.
who would see no problem with one thing and a total problem with the other.
Well, I'm here for Angel, so
You're
Yeah,
here
so-
for Angel. You're like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love him.
Well, no, so Tiffany told me that she had actually watched Angel. And I said, if you like Angel in his show, you should come and see how he started before he got his show. So that's why she's here.
Yeah, my friend Jody had to go because she's not a night owl, but she is definitely here for Angel as well. She's already asked if we're gonna have an Angel watch after.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Buffy, I have really high hopes for the series. Like, I actually think that, you know, if our timing is right and we can start like marketing, you know, the larger project within the next couple of months, like we might be able to continue this series as like a full slate show all the way through the end, and maybe even go into Angel, and maybe start like by season 2, season 3, like start bringing on like really big audiences to these episodes. I will say though, like, you know, based on what Jody mentioned, I mean, she would know better, of course, because she watched Angel. So, you know, she knows how dynamic that character can be. But I will say, I can hope that the character gets more dynamic, but there are plenty of instances where an actor got a television show, for one reason and one reason only. They drew in an audience, you know, because they were hot.
Like him.
Yeah,
Season 2, I think you're really gonna appreciate the character more.
I think you're going to appreciate the character more. And Joss didn't decide to give him a show until a certain episode we get to later, where he was like, wow, he can act. And I think he can carry a show.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
So-
cool. You know, I mean, I want to see him do things, you know, in order for me to really care about him at all, I need to know how he performs. Like I first of all don't totally know what he wants. So I can't really say for sure that I am aligned with him or that I care about what he wants. And then even still, like, you know, I don't really know how he actually goes about getting what he wants. So I don't really know whether I can really fully be invested in him. You know, it seems like, you know, he just had a fight with somebody outside. You know, it's like he just seems to kind of arrive like after he's done a lot of stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna save my judgment. I'll save my judgment until later, but the Angel character not doing it for me at all yet.
Yeah. I completely
That's
agree.
totally fair.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's also partly because the Buffy character is really, really freaking cool. Like really, really cool. I'm having so much fun with her. And so I like these scenes, I'm just like, out of the way, please, you know. Let's get to more like, you know, gumshoe, like let's get some serious like mystery solved, and let's have some fun, you know.
Well, it's like when your really cool friend starts like being interested in the brooding guy who clearly doesn't deserve her. Like that's kind of how I look at it. Like,
I love that.
Everything here is a metaphor for me for high school. And so like that is always how I felt about it. I was like, she is way too cool for this dude. Like I cannot, you know, like Do I need her to date Xander? No. But like I
you-
kind of
totally.
you know.
Like when she even when she like kind of like hugged his jacket there at the very
Yeah,
end, I was
right.
like, oh, Buffy, you're better than that.
But like
You're better than
but,
that.
like how high school is that though? Where you're just like, my friend was
Oh,
awesome
fully.
until this awful guy came into her life.
Of course. And also, like, I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, Buffy shouldn't have that she's a vampire slayer. She's not allowed to have any feelings for people. But it's just it's just you build this perception of this person, which you're right. You kind of build them up to be this like just the coolest thing ever, and those moments. But I've always said like that, like vulnerability is something that I really admire in a character. So I guess seeing a more vulnerable side of Buffy would be. I would probably think that was fantastic. I just don't know if it's earned yet from this guy. Really?
There's vulnerable.
You met him like twice.
But there's vulnerable, and then there's hugging a really ugly jacket around yourself.
But I mean, at least he didn't give her the velvet one.
Yeah, no, that should be burned. I don't know where that jacket is now, but it definitely should be in the trash.
Probably a trading card.
Trading card.
Yeah, it's a trading card now.
Yes. No, that jacket, like that jacket of his that he wore in the first episode is my favorite thing because it could not be more indicative of the 90s. It is like it's a cheap satin that's not thick enough to not wrinkle. Like we all had a shirt like that. I've probably had several where like the satin is not real satin. It's just like a cheap synthetic gross fabric, and like we thought we were really hot like wearing that fabric on ourselves. So like I kind of enjoy it because it's so bad and it's so of the time.
So wait, what if Angel is not a vampire?
Well, I'll have to wait.
I'm thinking that he's a vampire, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I really don't know what he is. I know what he got. I know he has his own show, and I know, I guess I'm kind of spoiled about what he in the broad sense might be. But what if he's like some sort of a demon or something? Like, but
then what's he doing?
That's a possibility.
Teenagers, like.
Right? Like, I mean, seriously, like get that demon away from these kids.
Lynn, did you have something else you wanted to say? I thought we saw you might flash again. I just want to make sure we give you an opportunity.
That's okay. No, I kind of agree with John. Like right now, like you don't see much action from him, so he's kind of like just like there. But like I think I want to like Angel, but right now he's just an annoyance.
And I think in some ways maybe we're supposed to feel that way because he's a mystery and we're learning more about all these characters, but not much about him yet. And so it's just
I don't know if I would say that at this point the writers wanted us to think he was an annoyance. I mean, I think that I think they wanted audiences to be like, ooh, who's that? Like, man of mystery.
People to be sorry, not an annoyance. Like,
well, I find him to be an annoyance. I do find him to be.
Yeah,
an
because
like he just kind of like appears and disappears. Like I want to see more out of his character than just like, oh hi, and then like walks away.
He's supposed to be a mystery, and to those of you who want to know more, it's annoying that you don't know more and you don't. Or for you, John, you just don't want to see him with Buffy.
Yeah, I don't really. I really don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't have like at this point any great need to know more about him. Like because I don't. There's not. He hasn't given me enough to in order for you to be pulled into a mystery, you actually have to be pulled in, you like a hook. Something has to hook you and pull you in. He hasn't hooked me with anything specific. He's just right now a blank slate. And so it's like, oh, this is a blank slate. Aren't you wondering what should be on that blank slate? I'm like, not really, because you haven't given me much to really hook me about the character. There's not much mystery there. It's just all you're saying is that that we don't know anything about him.
If you were a teenage girl,
but I was going to say, that's what I was going to say, that's the only difference, is that because he's so attractive, he's a specific type of attractive, that is enough of a draw probably where folks would be like, ooh, I want to know more about him because I'm attracted to him. I'm not attracted to him.
Well, they're writing in that perspective through Xander. Like they're writing in what is it about this guy that's so great? You know, I mean, this was Xander's episode, like that he got to put that question forward, like as a, you know, and also like all the virgin stuff at the end too. Like they really were painting a particular picture of a type of guy who like is just sort of a dweeb, you know, and doesn't like see why an angel type is like so interesting. But yeah, but I also think like, you know, I almost feel like there's somebody in the writer's room going like, yeah, but why Angel? Like, who is like the Xander? Being like,
right, right,
you know?
Yes, that would
So I
be
feel like,
that would be me. That would be like, really?
yeah, like
Why?
that's the thing. Like, you don't like you're not getting it because you are Xander. Like, you know, like, and I feel the same way. Like, well, I mean, like you're
No,
talking.
Yeah,
I'm,
I
I'm
like
kidding.
that
I'm
comparison
kidding. I'm
either.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No.
But like I was Xander too. Like that's what I mean. Like I was Xander. Like I was always watching this show from like he's.
I mean, I can
got
get
a voice,
yes,
and a point of view.
yes. I mean, you're right. Like you know, there have. I mean, certainly, I am more of a Xander archetype than an Angel archetype. That should be no surprise to anybody. But and there certainly have been men that I've been like, oh, like really, you know, and it was definitely fueled by jealousy. But that's not what's going on here for me with Angel. Like it's really truly like I just don't know exactly what I'm as a viewer supposed to actually care about.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying that like we have another character on the show who's like definitely asking the same questions and is sort of filling in for that voice of anybody who might be like that guy, you know, like
right.
that's I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Cordelia who was pointing out that like she was attracted to Angel one of the episodes earlier, and then she just was kind of disappointed that he was talking to Buffy. So it's like
I still
side
feel pretty convinced that Cordelia will be a vampire by the end of the series run.
Really? No, that.
I do think so.
Noted.
I do think that she will eventually. Like, I just kind of imagine that at some point, you know, you got to do something new with that character. And so I'm thinking, like, at some point, the writers like ask themselves, what do we do with Cordelia, who is, you know, kind of important. I can't imagine they'd be like, let's kill her off. You know, I mean, she's sort of an important part of the larger picture of that school, of the metaphor, all that stuff. And so I would find it really difficult to imagine her being killed off unless it was at the very, very, very end of the series. But I think that the metaphor fits well to have her actually be a vampire, which she isn't right now. So then I could imagine at some point a writer in the writer's room being like, what if she's captured and, you know, and they turn her into a vampire, you know, something like that.
It's a good prediction.
That's interesting. What are some other avenues though for her, you know, like is it vampire or nothing, or is it like, you know, like what
I think that it's vampire. I do think that it's vampire. I think that it's vampire or nothing really, because I mean, of course I could be wrong about this, but like I said, I just think that this thing that they keep doing with like they keep bringing her into scenes in almost exactly the same way, and her involvement in the series is sort of like, you know, sort of the same. It's sort of the same gimmick, you know, and I just think that eventually, I mean, if this series has 7 seasons, 7 seasons.
Yep, 7
seasons. I just think that can't sustain for 7 seasons. That eventually it would just become a joke, and then the question is, well, then, you know, we have to have something dramatic happen to the character. I don't imagine the character joining their team.
because that would also go against the metaphor, or all of the metaphors in the show, like high school and whatnot, and it's tough, and you know, the mean girls and the in crowd and all that. But I think that vampire does, and so I think that would have been proposed. Otherwise, the alternative is just like, you know, we just keep using Cordelia in the same way, you know, sort of a clueless mean girl who doesn't totally know what's going on, sometimes gets sucked into the plot, you know, unsuspectingly, and then at the end is like, wow, what was that? She's so lame, you know, like, you know, I can't imagine that being done for like, you know, how many episodes, like over 100 episodes. Can't imagine that. I think that they would need to do something else, and I don't think killing her either is something that they would do too early in the series either.
So then what is
because she's a born.
What are your predictions for Willow and Xander?
For Willow and Xander?
Yeah, do you have any predictions of what you think will be going on with them over the next few episodes or seasons?
I think Willow's gonna turn into a real badass. Like I think that they're so playing up this like completely, you know, super nerdy type character, and I think she's going to become kind of cool.
She also fully broke the law in this episode.
I think she does that a lot.
I have a prediction. I have a prediction that at some point Xander, I definitely think that she's ripe at some point in the series for the makeover trope. I mean, like, I feel like we've got that coming at some point. How soon, I don't know. But if they do that, I could see Xander being kind of like sort of seeing her for the first time.
Like when Luke sees her face, kind of seeing her.
No,
like she's all that kind of seeing.
Like exactly, like she's all that.
Like take off the glasses and oh my God, she's a hot girl.
Exactly, exactly. I'm imagining that trope to happen. It seems like if this was the 90s. It seems like that trope is, you know, all over the 90s. It feels like we've got a character that could do it really, really well. I do think I'm spoiled a bit on her. I do think that I am spoiled a little bit on her, like how she like functionally plays into the larger narrative. And so I'm just thinking we'll become more of a badass. And I also know she's a super popular character. So it all seems to kind of fit to, at a certain point, she's not all that into Xander, and suddenly Xander is all into her.
Well, John,
Did I just like stop everybody? Did I just like stop everybody in their tracks because of my brilliant theory?
No, I'm still having a montage in my head, like in Clueless, you know, when they give Ty a makeover.
Yeah.
But like the Saturday Night Live version where it's
or like Jawbreaker, you know, I mean, like, you know, they're there's so many of these. And I just think that Willow, she just fits the archetype so well that I can't imagine it wasn't brought up. And it's a trope that teenagers would have totally gotten and would have been really into. So I'm calling it Willow. She's gonna be hot like by season.
Are you saying 3, 4? Is that or 5?
I don't know. 3 might be a little early. Definitely by 5. But maybe as soon as 4. And
I'm very excited to see how this goes with watching this with you. You're making it much more interesting. Like I'm really excited to see how you and Regina and Lynn and Tiffany and Kendra. And MJ, have you seen this before?
No, I haven't seen
Yeah.
this before.
Oh, you have. I'm excited to see what you guys all think because it's just really it's fun to see it through fresh eyes. It really is.
And I love Xander. You know, I think Xander is he's such a fun character. He's got the dynamism, you know, that you know I want to get from any character that I'm being introduced to, which I don't get from Angel yet. You know, not necessarily needs to be quirky, just like I know what he wants, you know. I know what he wants. I see him trying to get it. I see him making mistakes, you know. That's what made Fox Mulder such a fun character and such a compelling character.
I knew you were gonna like Xander. Like I had a feeling you were gonna.
Yeah, it's a good character.
Love Xander. Xander's the kind of boy I dated in high school, kind of. Not quite, but almost. So I prefer him. Not that I would want to see him with Buffy, but I don't get the attraction to Angel. He's just weird and creepy to me. Like, ew, go away.
Hey, I thought you liked the weird and creepy Kendra.
Well, I do, but
But not in that way. Yes, I get it.
don't find him attractive in any way, shape, or form. My sisters were just so in love with him. And they talked about him all the time, and I was like, I don't get it.
So wait, so Tiffany, have you watched Buffy, or are you just from like you just watched Angel, and so now you're kind of seeing where it all started?
Yeah, I just watched Angel because it would come on after Charm. So I would watch like Charm, which is kind of in the same type of realm. And then Angel would come on. So I've watched all of Angel. And in Angel, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but they never tell you really. They just kind of hint at like his past. So I'm interested to see like what it was like before and like how he led up to that show. So that's kind of what I'm excited to see.
Well, let me ask you that. Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. Based on what you've seen so far of the Angel character, would you say that it's in line with the character that you got to know over the series of Angel, or would you say the personality is different?
I would say it's different.
That's a tough one.
It's different. Yeah, I can't say too much because it would be a little spoilery, but it's different, but it's almost like they're laying out a little bit of his storyline, like the theme. So I can't say too much without.
You can say, here's the one thing that is consistent with Angel that does not spoil either show. He broods.
He broods. Oh no. Oh no. No.
Up with this though, like because I really do love the Angel show. It's a different feel than Buffy. It's much more.
Did you call it the Angel show?
I call it the Angel show. It's a lot more mature.
The Buffy and Angel show.
But between the two shows, honestly, as a TV media person, this between Buffy and Angel, it has some of the best character arcs and transformation I've seen in TV. Oh, so I love it.
Absolutely. I think,
and I know you would like it, John.
I think John would really like Angel.
Absolutely. It's a much more mature feel than Buffy. It's the same world, obviously, but it's way more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And John, I think if you end up really if you like this show as much as you're hoping to, and we do these as slates going on, there comes a point in season 4 of Buffy, you could run Angel season 1 concurrently with it because there's crossovers and things. And I think you'd really enjoy them. But I'm really looking forward to.
Right. I promise that Angel is more than just like Burlington Coat Factory.
Yeah.
He does do more than brood. I'm just saying. Even in these early episodes, we haven't really been calling it that, but he does it. So he just
masterfully.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is like like a contemporary of his, the actors, right, would be Nathan Fillion, who also like kind of, you know, went to another crime drama shortly after a Whedon show, as he did shortly after Angel. And you know, I just love Nathan Fillion's dynamism. You know, I love his just like his just bigness of character, and you know, brooding and just like acting with your eyebrows is just not my thing. But I'm gonna give
There's more than that. I just, if you can't really, Tiffany can't really tell you the differences without spoiling something.
Yeah.
So that's what's really, that's why I said, well, that's a hard one. Because if she truly answers the question based on what she's seen in 4 episodes to what she knows he's like later, it will ruin things.
Yeah, but like I said though, like Joss gave him his show because he was like, oh, okay, yeah, he can act and he can carry a show.
Awesome. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I know nothing about him as an actor, just from what I've gathered, seeing like movie or posters for Bones, and like, you know, the occasional TV commercial for one of these shows.
The Navy SEAL show that he did.
So I don't really know anything at all, but you know, I've been introduced now to him in these three scenes, and the character of Angel, like, just not working. It's just not working for me.
I'll say this: I never watched Angel, not once, and but I remember Angel, the character, as even more broody than this, which kind of makes me feel like I either just really didn't like him, or, you know, that's just the feeling this particular show gave me for him. Because even in these scenes, I'm kind of like, oh, I feel like I remember him darker than this, you know, like in these first episodes too, like, you know, where it just felt like he felt overwhelmingly brooding. But I never watched Angel, so I don't really know how much more dynamic he gets.
Do we ever see him run? Do we ever see him run? You know, like, do we see him run? Do we see him jump? Do we see him do we see him like grabbing onto somebody who's falling into a pit, and he's like, hold on, man, hold on? Like, do we see anything that's just like full of just edge of your seat tension? Or
Absolutely.
Is it just like walking into a room and giving somebody his jacket?
No. Like, you'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I think, like I said, I think in season 2 you will see other things other than him giving jackets away and brooding alone and looking at Buffy
and just walking out of the shadows. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna head out. This was fun. Although not my favorite episode. Looking forward to tomorrow, which I'm imagining we've had 2 Monsters of the Week in a row. So I'm guessing that we're gonna probably get back into the mythology.
You mean Monday, right?
Sorry, Monday. We're gonna get back into the mythology of the series, the master and all that good stuff.
Well,
I'm guessing, but maybe not.
I'm trying to remember what the name of the next episode is.
It's called Never Kill a Boy on the First Date.
Oh yeah. That master, always killing boys on the first dates.
Now that sounds like
you guys,
fun.
You just kind of blew my mind, because I did not realize the same actor that plays Seeley Booth is playing Angel.
Yes, he is.
Oh my God. Like, I'm trying to make it make sense in my brain.
I like Seeley Booth.
I love Bones. That is my kind of show. It's the best.
Same guy.
Oh wow! So you didn't realize that was the same actor.
He has been consistently working for 20 years, basically, because he did Buffy, Angel, Bones, and then that Navy SEAL show that he's been on. I can't remember what it's called, SEAL 6 or something.
I just can't believe it.
John, I appreciate you doing that preamble for us and going for the WB voiceover guy. I loved it. Thanks very
Perfection.
much.
Good job.
But yeah, I do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to hear you do that. And I'm sure it was a lot harder than it sounded because that voice could not be easy to do for that many lines.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that person did not develop throat cancer from doing that.
That's why it's so short, that little intro.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I will see everyone. Everyone who's doing the Buffy watches, we'll see you again on Monday.